Alright, let's get into this. A few tables of mid-stakes PLO on ignition. First hand, 3 betting under the gun with ace king jack deuce, double. Let's take it down. Just making sure my sound, yep, looks like sound's working. Same table, just going to be opening the double pair. Would fold this if we didn't have a suit, just due to the disconnectedness. Small sizing. We don't have a lot of 5x. He shouldn't have a lot of 5x, calling cut off first middle position. So it should be a fairly neutral range, but we still don't want to be stuffing a bunch of money in. Apologies if I sound sniffly. I'm just woken up trying to come to terms with still being alive, if you know what I mean. Just waiting for the coffee to kick in. Just checking turn. No real requirement to keep turning this into a bluff. And just letting go versus the bet. Opening on table 4. And we would have completed on table 2, but this 3 bet precludes us from doing so. Defending table 1. It's connected enough to justify. And checking table 4 out of position. Once we get this turn, I think a lead is fine. I don't think we need to lead too large, since a lot of queen 9 would have bet the flop from both ranges. And then on river, I think we have a pretty clear check. Discounting some flush combos from his range due to the flop action. Expect to see a lot of 2 pairs in his range there. And we just take it down. Just completing the small blind on table 1. Move this microphone a bit closer, there we go. And gonna lead bottom pair with the nut flush draw. Draw's strong enough to bet call versus raise. Plus we have some nice backdoor equity when we turn the 3. This ace I'm actually gonna check. We're very middling in our range right now. Our hand does alright at showdown, not great, but we have some equity in the check call line versus bluffs. Now I think we've got a pretty clear check fold, since when he plays call, I'm just going to flat this on table 3. When he plays call on the flop, doesn't raise, then doesn't bet turn, I think he's going to have a bunch of 10-9. The hands we beat are going to be worse flush draws, but he is going to be relatively 9-10 dense in this spot, I believe. And he does bet pretty quickly, which indicates to me that he's likely improved. It seems to be a bit of a spot at the moment, so I don't think we have a profitable call down here. If the river was, you know, the blank 7, I'd just be snapping this off. And I'm gonna fold the top pair backdoor flush draw on table 2. Do some rebuying so we can get maximum pain when we do win a hand. Alright, player 5. Player 5's a spot. And player 2 is a spot as well, and I'm guessing I'm guessing this guy's going to be a spot as well. Alright, table 1 opening the ace queen 9-8, and table 2 without the ace, just flatting. MP versus under the gun, or EP. And folding the ace queen 9-8 to a 3-bet once we get raised. I'll keep this video short, but hopefully we'll get some good spots to go over. Interesting spot here, the 3-bet is huge, so it's really going to be dependent on what player one does. He decides he's going for it, which is fine. We'll get the rebuy in first, and then we'll just let it go. Half pot in position with the gut shot. If we can get a fight, if we can just fold out a raggedy jack or a 10, that's huge for us. Getting check raised isn't really much consequence to us. We don't really have much to defend with. This guy gets a red tag for squeezing the queen jack 8-7. So we won't be folding kings to his 3-bets. Although, the hand is fine to 3-bet, but it's one of those things I find when you squeeze a 5-way pot there, or whatever it was pre-flop, with a hand like that isn't very nutted, you're just asking to get hurt. Like under the gun had aces. If he folded, we probably look to jam. Even if he flats, if player 1 flats, we probably look to jam as well. Table 4, we're going to be squeezing our kings. And on this flop, SPR2, we have the blocker to the straight. I think we have a pretty decent just pot call. Could justify smaller. I'm just thinking. Yeah, I'm going to go small bet. We've got a lot of aces with flush draw. Even our 3-5 that does flop here, won't be a lot, but there will be a reasonable portion of hands here that have 3-5 in them with our ace 3-5, king double suited 3-5 that doesn't mind going for it. Versus raise, it gets interesting. We do block the 3-5. I think I might go with this. If he has a 5, 7, 8 of diamonds, we're kind of doomed. But if he just has nut flush draw type combos, we're doing okay. There you go with it. It's close. It's not. We go straight and we hold. He gets the rec tag for having the 3 diamonds and a 3-bet pot. So I think we'll be like high 40s there. Oh, we were 57 on the flop, so good play by us. Here on the button, this guy hasn't looked too active. Versus, say, this guy, I would squeeze this 100%. Just a great hand. It's nutted enough to put a 3-bet in, but it's not nutted enough to want to call. But it's not nutted enough, sorry, versus this guy. So we'll just defend the button. Good flop for us. And here, this guy just looks to be going bananas, so I'm not going to be folding an ace-jack suited, regardless of how retarded the side cards are. Versus check here. I'm going to bet. What's 3/4? 42. Yeah, I'm just going to 3/4 it. I like to go larger sizing on flops. That shouldn't hit us too hard. Weird spot on table 2 versus 2 barrels. But really we're calling, hoping just to get the shutdown, check on the turn. When he barrels, don't really have enough information on him to continue here, which might make the flop call bad. Can't be sure at this point, you know, until once we get a greater sample. I'm just going to fold. I'll just live to fight another day. Probably continue with ace-king there. Here, I'm just going to try to see about ace-high boards pretty widely today. This guy's defending quite wide, so he's going to have a ton of hands that don't have an ace in them. And our queens just benefit from those hands folding. You know, even if he folds a gut shot there, we're doing okay. Worst thing for us would be to let him pick up some turn equity. Raising table 2, just seeing what the blinds look like. Nothing to be overly concerned about so far. Won't be folding to a squeeze. Get 2 callers, that's fine. We absolutely drill the flop. As I've said to some of you before, poker is very easy when you make hands, and it's the hardest game in the world when you don't. Just going to check this flop. If someone's got a 2, we'll probably still stack them, or at least get a large amount of money in. So someone turning the second best full house would be ideal. Someone leading the turn with a decent flush draw would also be ideal. We do get a lead, which is good. I'm just going to flat. Get a flat reasonably quickly, just to, you know, give the illusion of maybe just having, you know, nut flush draw here on the turn or something. Turn bricks off. He pots, which is very good for us. Versus pot, we're just going to jam. We take it down. Kings versus aces on table 4. I'm going to squeeze this kings even without the nut suit. Actually, tossing up. I think it's a fine squeeze, but with game flow meta, I find when someone loses a pot, a lot of the time they seem to feel disrespected and they just seem to auto 3-bet the next hand. Case in point. So when he does that, we're just going to back jam on him. Folding the king, queen, 10-8 without a nut suit. You know, it's just one of those spots if he's got aces. Had we 3-bet and he's got aces, we're still calling it off and losing anyway, so this just gives him more opportunity to have some spew. Call it off. He's got 9s. We're sitting pretty. And we hold. Always pay attention to game flow. I think it's one of the most important aspects of playing poker, especially online in pools where the player pool isn't the strongest. You want to really hone in on those, I guess, tendencies, which, as you can see there, was that read that players you assume are fish or recreationals, when they feel disrespected after losing a decent sized pot, sometimes they just spaz the very next hand. They do it high enough frequency to make that play reasonable. It's a classic. Jack 10-8 3. He's short and tight. We're just going to fold. And raising the button on table 4. Get 2 easy folds. Happy to have. Again, table 4, double pair. 4 double pairs, you want to have about 120 to 130 big blinds versus a 3-bet to make the call profitable. I think if you look at having 125 as a standard, folding when you don't, calling when you do with this type of hand, you'll do pretty well. That's for pure set mining for a hand such as this. A hand like, say, 7-7-8-8 obviously needs less of a stack behind due to the connectivity. However, with a totally separated hand like this, we're really playing purely for set value. Just folding versus the bet on the 9-6-5. No shame in folding. For any of you guys who aren't playing with HUDs, I highly recommend that you start. It definitely makes the game. Doesn't make the game easier. Anyone who says it makes the game easy is probably wrong, but it does give you information and insights that are otherwise difficult to glean. Also, once you're when you're playing multiple tables, it's hard to keep paying attention to a lot of these stats. On the turn on table 2, gonna follow up with a second bet. His range is obviously wider than Ace King. And on table 3, we will be 3-betting. Table 1, I'm going to fold. I would open this if the 4 or 5 was an ace of that suit. However, the 3-3, 4-5, it's not nutted enough to be taking a war out of position. We don't want that. Table 3. We've got the Jack Deuce 6. Pretty good flop for us as the pre-flop 3-better. Gonna put this hand into the pot category. Although we do have 2 spades. No, I'm still gonna pot. We're deep enough that we want to shorten the SPR considerably. When we get called, it's fine. On this turn, I think I'm going to start with a check. Could bet, however, betting pot and then getting jammed on sucks. Betting 3/4 getting jammed on sucks. Betting half pot and getting jammed on also sucks. They're all pretty crappy lines. I'm going to continue. I don't give him a ton of credit for having 3-4 here. So I think I just want to call and let him bluff. River's not great. I think the 9 hits his range pretty well. However, we'll see how he plays. So we'll take our time with table 3. Table 1. Just going to call. The hand turns well enough. Alright, so table 3. So like I said, I don't give him a lot of credit for 3-4. I could be wrong. Like he's playing a bunch of the deck, but people tend to fold their 3-4s. I don't know that he's doing this with 6-5, and we block 7-8, so I think I actually can call down here. I think he's likely just going to be spazzing and trying to get us off aces a lot of the time. And we're correct. And table 1, we make a straight flush. I'm not going to bet too large because here his range is implicitly weak with how the action's gone. Bet flop, get called, check turn, check river, so we don't want to be betting too large. We do get snapped, which is good. This was a nice little hand here. He's probably on steaming tilt right now because he just got called off with 1 pair, which is that's always nice. Should record these sessions more often because we seem to just run good, which is a very nice thing. Unfortunately, we lost our friend there on table 3. Save that hand before it goes missing. Send it to the peanut gallery later on as a. Oh, we've saved it good. You get a hand like that every so often that you just feel a bit chuffed about, you know. Like you tell yourself, you know, you talk yourself through the process. You guys heard my process right there, and then you heard it real time. And it's one of those things, you know, it's it sounds good in your head, and then you call, and they turn over the 3-4, and you feel like an idiot. But you know your process there was sound. Table 1 opening the King 10 9-3, and table 2 I like betting these middle pair double gut shot type hands. They're not super strong, and they don't, you know, if they get check raised, it's not a crime to be folding. However, they do have equity when called. On turn, just barreling. a bit too large. I'm going to go in the $19 range. We do get called again, which is good for us. Assuming he's most likely to be check raising a wide portion of our ace queen due to the fact that we can bet the turn and check the river, and if we do that and he's got ace queen, it's an absolute travesty. Also, if he has ace queen with diamonds, he wants to push equity versus our nutted range, since he's doing so overwhelmingly good. Versus the line he's taken being check call, check call. I think we just size down a little bit. Look to get called by sets and 2 pairs. Most likely being 2 pairs. When he jams here, yeah, he's raised. He's pretty much always going to have ace queen. You know, it's pretty spewy here versus bet, bet, bet to be trying to turn something into a bluff. So I give him credit for having ace queen here. GG, nice hand. Using the effective button with a suited ace. Just gonna pot call the ace, the middle pair nut flush draw. We're doing fine versus pretty much any get it in range. On the turn, just gonna bet small. Bet 14 last street. I'm just gonna bet 14 again. Just take it down. Merit for checking, but I do want to get the turn call to try and set up stacks for the river, even though he's short. Table 2. Hand is beautifully structured. We're going to flop. We're going to flop well enough. We're going to cooler some people with the height of our rundown. We're not around the ace and king, which is good, since a lot of his 3-bet range is going to be aces and ace king king. So we want to be under those. Obviously the 3-bet is quite large due to the 2 callers. And versus a bet on this flop, smaller bet, I think we've got a pretty clear jam. When he checks, again, I think we've got a pretty easy bet call. Ten high on 3-4-3. I'm just going to be checking. Just not a hand I want to be sticking money with multi-way. Calls a flop. I think flop's an interesting spot. He does jam turn. Once he jams turn, kind of wondering what he's jamming turn with. Is it just a aces with a turned flush draw? He can have, you know, he could reasonably have like an ace 3-4, ace 4 deuce here. I don't really want to be calling off pair and gut shot, non-nutted gut shot at that versus this range. I'd snap off any of the 2 pairs here. Sets, 7-9 obviously, 7-4 obviously, and any of my 8x with flush draw, like gut shot and flush draw. So we've got a pretty wide continuing range there. So I'm pretty happy to fold that combo. Ace 4-10 in the small blind. I got limp versus shorty. We don't know anything about him. He's new to the table. We do get the check. We block 10-8. We block 5-8. I'm gonna lead. We do take it down. This was an interesting hand by him. Possibly even merits 2 checking the flop, since we're just going to turn so well. So I'm going to save that hand for review later on. But I just think, you know, 5-6-8 is just so overwhelmingly bad for his range that even when the turn here drills off a 10, which doesn't, you know, it improves our draw, but it doesn't improve our actual hand. We're just gonna, when we jam that turn, we're just going to get so many folds. And with SBR1 on the turn, we get a pretty easy play when we do make a hand, whether it be 2-pair or 2-pair plus. Table 1, I'm going to be opening, even though this guy is squeezing a bit. And table 2, table 4, sorry, just going to half pot Queen 5-2 this deep. We do get check called. I'm going to check this turn. Actually, no, I'm going to bet this turn because we have the ace of diamonds. We would bet our turn to nut flush draws. We've got a double gutter as well, so I think we've got an easy bet. And table 1, I'm going to check call. Unfortunately, we get jammed on. Here we do have aces with flush draw to call with. We've got Queen 10. We've got any of the sets that we make. I think this hand is a bit too weak to call with. So I think overall we're pretty happy. Again, to fold kind of sucks, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. Timed out anyway. Forgot to click the time button. 10 is interesting on the turn. On the river, sorry. Key point, while the last 2 hands have been a bit rough, we haven't gotten unnecessarily stacked, which, you know, when playing deep is pretty important. It's a crime to probably call it off there and be a dog with 200 bigs in the pot. This guy seems to be going pretty wild post-flop. It's still small sample, 50 hands. I keep forgetting to click the timer, but it's okay. I was leaning towards fold turn there anyway. Alright, just check the rundown on table 2. So to squeeze this small blind, you want a hand with more connectivity. You want to be squeezing fairly linearly out of position. Table 2, I'm just going to flick into call. We got some good turn stuff. That is some of it. So table 3, we're just going to fold. King Queen 10-8 with double suit. King Queen 10-7. I don't mind for a squeeze. Probably be about the minimum standard. River sucks for us, unfortunately, on table 2. He's going to have a bunch of jack X that bets flop, checks turn. Not expecting too many flushes, but see how it plays out. Table 1 raising the ace 10, and table 1 we're just going to flat with our set in position. Yeah, when he goes this sizing, I think we're just crunched all the time. When he checks a turn, it's pretty interesting. We've got a pretty mandatory bet. Question is, what sizing? I don't want to go too large because I don't want him to only continue with, you know, ace king plus, because whilst we beat ace king, we certainly don't beat aces and kings. So we want to keep some of those ace x with flush draw in. See, with this line, he can have ace king now. Probably doesn't figure us to have too much 3-4. He's gonna have some aces. He's gonna have some kings, which is just an unfortunate part of the pot. But I think we've got a pretty clear go with it here, unfortunately. Get the rebuy ready. 5s. It's just unfortunate. Table 1, just going to check the ace with 2 backdoors. Hands are fine, check call, and table 2. Still going to raise the triple aces in the cutoff. First half pot, we'll just call. Turn is good. Don't expect him to have a ton of ace deuce, just due to card removal. You can still have jacks, so we can't exactly bet. Checks turn quickly, which I think is a good sign for us. We're just going to check river still. Just lose to ace king. All seems pretty standard. On the turn here, I'm gonna lead the turn on table 3 with the 7-3. Defending versus the button, even though he's tight with the Jack 10 double. Fortunately, we don't flop a lot here. We'll just fold versus flop bet. Here, I'm going to fold. Just prefer to have the suited king. This guy's short. He has been shown to 3-bet a little bit, so who knows what he's doing. Raising the small blind with the king queen suited, double suited. And gonna c-bet the open ender. And backdoor flush draw. Get a barrel turn. Not going to pot. I think potting probably weights us too much towards draws, since the turn card doesn't really change too much. However, now picking up the nut flush draw, I think this hand's a pretty mandatory bet. Nine's pretty gross for us, not blocking 7, 8 in any form. Just unfortunate. I think we just have to check fold the river. Just trying to think here what my natural bluffs would be. I think this card's just so overwhelmingly good for his range that we're just going to hurt ourselves by trying to bluff too wildly into it. He turns over a6, that's fine. Save some money there by not trying to pot the turn. Let's see 81-22. I'm going to c-bet the gut shot with a club blocker. Backdoor flush draw also adds some nice equity when called. However, if we get check raised here, you know, I'm not going to be sad. It's just a standard hand. Ace is interesting, great card for us. Doesn't improve us a ton. Like, you know, these guys will show up with ace jack with clubs kind of thing. So I'm going to check the turn back because I think it's not as great a card for us as it looks. And we'll just check and play rivers. That's a river. Just going to snap off a bet. When he checks, it's good for us. We're just going to go fairly beefy sizing. Try and target hands with blockers. And here, just going to check our pair and open ender on table 2. Turn a set on table 2, which is a very interesting card. If check to us, I am going to bet. Table 1, I'm opening the King Queen Jack combo in the cutoff. Table 4, sorry, I can't count. And here on table 2, I'm just going to go to 3/4 sizing. I think as played, you know, the likelihood of anyone else having a set is low. We can still call a check raise. Spot here, we do get 3-bet. It's kind of close, but I think this is still a call with the low connectivity. $10-9, pretty good for our range as the 3-bet caller. However, you know, in position 3-bet still has quite a lot of interaction on this board, so we don't want to go too helpful. They're trying to represent hands that he can also have. So just going to take check fold there. Going to defend the nut flush combo. Not a hand on table 4 that I expect to make a ton of money with, but I think it does serve to reduce your loss rate in the blinds, especially multi-way with a nutted combo. Fortunately, we don't get the option to squeeze on table 3, but money's money. Happy to win any pots. Opening 5s with a king 4 suited on the button. We'll fold to a 3-bet from player 4. Table 2, I'm going to try and bet, just because getting a fold from any kind of, you know, like I said before, like a raggedy jack, this is still a win with this hand, just because our likelihood to improve isn't great. This would have just been a one and done. When you check raises, we're most certainly done with the hand. Nothing I'm too concerned about. Opening the kings on table 2. And marking some players. Orange is my nitty reg tag. Opening kings on table 1. C-betting half pot in position with the kings with the 5 blocker. If I get this one, it's frustrating me. There we go. Decent turn. He's gonna have some 9x. We're not gonna have a ton of 9x, but the diamonds kind of make up for that for us. We're gonna check this behind. And table 1, I'm just going to check. Don't expect him to have a ton of 3x. When he checks, I don't expect him to have a ton of 9x either. But I think it's too thin to value bet. So we're just going to check and try and take a showdown. Versus 3/4 sizing. We're just going to check fold here. This guy's been leading a bunch, so I'm looking now to put a higher density of check raises into my range out of position, just to stop the bleeding and stop him, you know, being able to just wail on us quite so wide. Table 3, going to defend queens versus a MP raise. Hand is most certainly good enough to defend. And happy for this hand to go multi-way. This guy checks and this guy bets. I'd consider a check raise. Versus a half pot sizing, I think we can. We get 50 bucks in. I don't expect this guy to check 3-bet too often, especially versus our check raise. Like if he does, it's going to be extremely nutted. So we just look to take it down there, and it works out. Here, just going to flat the kings. They're pretty trashy at smaller stakes. You could argue this is a fold just due to the trashiness of the kings. Obviously, I don't have the same rate concerns that Some of you guys have, so I can continue. I'm going to take a check call on this flop. Let's go beefier sizing, which I think probably indicates that he's a bit of a spot. So I'll change him tentatively now. Like I said, we just take the check call. Here, I'm going to check back top and bottom in position. Probably check call turn again. This turn should give him pick up quite a few draws, which we should still be ahead of. If he's got 2x, GG, well played. On to the next one. And table 3, just going to look to now bet our top and bottom. We have some really good blockers to the incoming straight. And that is a beautiful river. Check jam. Since, as I was about to say, I think this guy is probably going to overbet this river. And I think we just get a pretty good check jam. If we've cooled him, well played us, we're geniuses. If he's just spazzing, we've given him as much rope as we can. Always rebuy just in case. He does call, so that's good for us. May have had a 2, who knows. Gonna raise this 5s on the button. And versus a 3-bet, I think we can call. The hand is connected enough that we're gonna win some of our money back from our opening raise. Here, just going to defend the button with Ace Jack 7 8 and raise the big blind with Ace Queen Jack 4 versus limper. Can't do a whole heap on King King Queen, unfortunately, but that's alright. Sometimes when you flop nothing, it's for the best. And just going to bet our Jack in position on table 1. Versus a check raise here, I'll probably just bet 3-bet. May have used too large a sizing there. I'll go back and have a look at that later. Opening the King Jack 10, double in the cutoff. Very standard open. And here, actually leaning towards a 3-bet here. Hand's a bit disguised. I think this guy will fold 2-3 bets a reasonable percentage as well, but also just want to have some board coverage on the lower boards. And when we get 4-bet, like the hand's doing okay. Not as great as having no pair, but it's pretty good. He does 4-bet. We will be calling. We get a King Queen flop again. I don't think they've got any cards in the deck lower than King or Queen. Or if they do, it doesn't appear so. But that's okay. We'll just fold to jam and move on to the next hand. I'm going to fight the Ace Jack 10 8 versus a guy I think is going to be too wide. And here, just checking back King on the turn. Checking the monotone board 3-way. Once turn goes, flop goes check check, and we pick up the flush draw, I'm going to do some leading. We've got a high density of kings, queens, king, queen. Versus a raise, we're still doing okay. can easily call. Jam any card ace through 9. Consider jamming some clubs. Sorry, the king was standard fold. Here, I'm going to flat. I think we'll get some interesting stuff going on here. Unfortunately, this dude jams, rip us. River bricks. It's a shame for us. And we'll just check fold table 4. Table 1. What do we have to call? 67. 67 to win 225, which leaves us tough spot here. I'm gonna call once. Probably ditch this hand on the turn. No, probably now not. I'm gonna call. It's close. I think it's just one of those hands. We know when we flop what we wanted to. 4 doesn't help. Nice little 2 on the turn would have been interesting. Just checking down a 7 high flush. 8 also doesn't help us. There's no side pot. Not that I would try to advocate bluffing with this hand overall, but I think we can just move on. Unfortunately, we lost that guy. He was a recreational. Again, just defending kings. With kings with top pair blocker, which is good. Ace of diamonds on the turn is not good. Hopefully on table 4 we can eke out a squeeze from someone. No one's, I was about to say no one seems to be doing too much squeezing, but we found a guy. Just when you need to rely on someone, you can always find someone to help you out. We will be jamming. 4-bet, jam any flop, due to the extremely shallow SPR that we will have. Opening king 7-8-5 on the button, and we'll be opening these 8s in the cutoff. On this flop, I'm just going to bet small. And here, top pair open, middle pair open ender. I'm actually going to check back. You know, it's one of the spots. Like if he has a 4, we're losing all the money regardless. If he doesn't have a 4, we're going to be doing it well. Just jamming turn. We block the nut flush draw, which is good for us. He has clubs, but look, we get jacks to call down. It's about as good as it gets. Check calling flop on table 3. Yeah. This guy's been 3-betting quite wide. I think I'm just going to jam the kings. Not a standard play at all, but I think we just do well. When this guy doesn't 4-bet, you know, we're pretty clear that we're ahead, then we take it down. When the diamond rolls off, just going to bet small. And we take that down. Flopping top 2, going to check raise this flop and raising ace queen queen. And check turn again. Make a kind of loose open with 9s here, but I think we can get away with it at this table. Versus these guys who are, they're both short. It's a bit of dead money if we get a fold. I think we're going to be ahead enough of the time. I'm just going to jam. We are ahead. We are not ahead. But people are letting us do this stuff to them, so we are happy. Gonna sit out next big blind, wrap up the video, go take my dog for a walk, get on with my regular morning activities, and just look to make a day of it. Jump back on, have my proper session later on. But so far so good. Unfortunately, I think we're losing for the session, which is unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure our EV is looking pretty good. Unfortunately, we lost a buy in here, we lost some money here overall. Got it in good though, so the world keeps spinning. Here, not going to bluff turn, just going to look to make a flush on the river. King's not great for us. I don't think anyone's got a king, but I think we'd have to bet pretty large to bluff at this pot, and I don't think I want to do that, so we're just going to check and lose. We win! Alright, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really expect that, but so be it. Sometimes good things happen to good people, I suppose. Win with 9s. That's a laugh. Yeah. So player 3 is definitely a spot. Cold calling a 3-bet with ace queen 3-4. Have a look at the session overall. Oh, we're down 400. EV's about 3/4 of a buy-in up, so pretty close to even. Nothing too crazy. We're about a buy-in up in EV, so it is like it is what it is. But yeah, I'll just end the session here. I don't really want to play through to the blinds, so hope you guys enjoyed this, got something from it overall, and I'll talk to you guys later.